Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Stock Trades. All right, guys. So this is going to be kind of just my thoughts, not no slides, no presentations, no data, just me internalizing all the data that I've been looking at and what are my expectations, right? Because everyone has expectations regarding Clover. So it is without a doubt that, Clover out of all my stocks has definitely been one of those laggers, right? Almost like a biopharmaceutical company. But still have sustainable revenues, not like a biopharmaceutical company in the revenues of millions. Um, it is very clear that I think we are headed towards or nearing peak fear for Clover investors. I thought we may have left peak fear, but when Clover was dropping back to the 70, 80 cents range a couple months ago, like last year, other stocks were falling too, right? But now that other stocks are rising, Bitcoin's rising, and you're just seeing everybody that is invested in other stocks, like the ones we've been talking about, Robinhood, Palantir, SMCI, et cetera, they're all making money, but then Clover is not. So a lot of folks that maybe some of them even do understand the fundamentals, I'm not too sure, but a lot of them now are starting to rampage. We have people on StockTwits posting pictures of grasshoppers, fried grasshoppers that people eat around the world. We have people commenting on Andrew Toy's professional CEO LinkedIn, which to me is like, if I see someone's history like that and being like that, it's an immediate not hire, right? We have individuals messaging and posting saying they're selling at a $50, $60, $70,000 loss, and just people just going insane, right? So I believe that my thoughts right now, and then we could talk about this later, but it's definitely a lot. But I want to the position has nothing to do with what I see for in the future, right? I want to it look at just the grand scheme of things. So Ken says it really great here. If you look at the technical analysis and look at the simple moving average 50-day and 200-day, we are slowly approaching a bottoming out accumulation phase, right? And but forget the technicals now. I want us to focus on the fundamentals. The company right now, and I wish they did this in 2021 or 2022. I don't know what they were afraid of. I wish they did this earlier. But they should have pulled out of the non-insurance side. But I just think that they believe that they could have been profitable in that segment. But unfortunately, the system is flawed. And it's a shame that the system is flawed, that they had to figure it out the hard way. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, so I wish they would have constructed their cash burn earlier. It would have been, if the stock price would have dropped that low, it would, it already did, right? And I think Andrew now, given all, because he's a smart man, right? He's not an idiot, right? Given all the data points he has, and now realizing, and he keeps saying, we are a maturing company on Wall Street now. We understand. Okay, we get it. What they've been doing is they've been cutting off the fat. The fat is the elements that lead to cash burn, such as the non-insurance side. So I'm seeing this and I'm like, great. We're removing the bad part, but I'm analyzing the SG&A, and that's honestly what's killing us, right? The SG&A is killing us. And what I'm looking at right now is they just need more revenue. They need more profitable revenue to offset the SG&A at a break-even point. Okay? That's what they need. In fact, to a point where it's a profitable business. And do I see them heading towards this direction? Absolutely. They just hired a new chief financial officer for the Medicare Advantage side. This individual has extensive experience and has been involved in Humana very intimately in Humana. And more specifically, he led the growth phase of Humana. And if you were to look at the stock price in correspondence to his tenure at Humana, it was very good. So I think now we still have an empty CFO position that's not interim. We do have an interim CFO, and I believe his name is Mr. Clay Thompson, I believe, from CFO Medicare side from Humana. I believe he now is going to help Clover find through his contacts the appropriate new CFO. And I think just like how Oscar got a CFO from the incumbents, if Clover wants to do it correctly, they may find a CFO from these types of incumbents, and they do have connections. People from United Healthcare, people from Aetna, people from Humana work in Clover. So they do have industry leading experts. So with the new CFO from Medicare Advantage side coming in, I do believe the growth side of Clover is being strategically worked on now and activated. But the issue here is what Clover is doing now is Clover is hibernating. I wish that they started hibernating in 2022. Hibernation was probably the best thing to do. But again, the market was still trying to figure itself out. Right now, Clover is hibernating. And what does hibernation mean? Hibernation basically means that they are trying to preserve their business and trying to stay afloat until the macroeconomic conditions change. The problem now with overall small caps is many institutional investors and managers are not holding small caps, which is a signal that we are about to blow up. I know that may not sound right in your mind, but that's how Wall Street works. It works in opposites, right? And sometimes it's opposites of opposites, but I haven't seen that play out until if you read Warren Buffett's share letters, and if you go back to 1960s and 50s and 60s, you might see that type of opposite reaction with the stock market. Those are confusing. I don't think we are there. I think it's just opposite right now, one opposite. So it's so I'm looking at like different layers of onions. Okay. The first onion is the macroeconomic picture. It's the inflation onion. Okay. Inflation's coming down. Inflation's dropping like a rock. Only shelter, housing, and insurance. Okay. Well, car prices used to be expensive. And of course, the insurance to cover those old expensive car prices are going to, car prices have been going down. Insurances are going to come down too. It's just a lagging indicator. Housing, and uh, I think the Federal Reserve is not going to increase interest rates because of housing and insurance. So that inflation is dropping like a rock. So that I peel off that onion. Okay, good. Because if you talk to me a year ago, I would say inflation's going up, guys. A year and a half ago, inflation was going up, right? So now inflation has dropped like a rock. Done. Okay, I put that onion to the side. The second onion layer I'm looking at. Well, interest rates. Okay, well, yeah, inflation is dropping like a rock. So what are the Feds going to do? Are the Feds going to cut? Are they going to cut 3, cut 2, cut 1? I don't care. Are they going to cut or not? If they cut, that more cuts are coming. Okay, if they raise, oh shit, we're in a hell of pain. Okay. I don't think they're going to raise. I do not think they're going to raise. If they raise, then my friends, embrace for impact. We are about to crash like no other. Embrace, right? I don't think they're going to raise. That would be extremely hawkish, right? But again, you have to put it within your mental modeling system, right? Because you're a pilot of your own portfolio, right? You have to you're the captain, right? You have to look at all scenarios when you fly, right? So I don't think that outcome is possible. So I think they're going to cut. Okay. So once they cut, what happens? Interest rates go down. Borrowing money is going to be cheaper than when everyone calculates their intrinsic value calculation. The dollar now is going to be worth more in the future than it is now, meaning that cash is going to be better well spent, invested. People are going to start looking for yield, and we're going to go back into an economic easing cycle. Okay. So in terms of interest rates, yeah, they're going to start dropping. Okay. I peel off that onion. Okay. That onion's been peeled off. Now let's go ahead and look at the next onion. The next onion is, okay, Clover Health is a small cap. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at all the other small caps in the industry. Okay, small caps IWM, they have not reached levels that they were at peak before the crash of the bear market. We've seen the S&P 500 expand to new highs. We've seen the NASDAQ expand to new highs. The Russell has not. However, the Russell has broken key levels of resistance and now is on an uptrend. Okay. And we believe, remember the 3 onions that we peeled off? We believe the interest rates and inflation is tied to the Russell 2000, right? Because smaller companies have to rely on debt, et cetera, right? So once interest rates go down, we believe the small caps are going to rally, and we're talking like a 50% rally. We're talking like a 50+% rally in IWM small caps. Okay, they're going to rally like no other. So we believe small caps are going to be well positioned. Okay, so we peel off that onion. Now let's go closer. Now we're going into Clover. Okay, before we hit Clover, let's look at healthcare. Okay. I'm seeing the incumbents, United Healthcare and Humana's, increase their medical cost ratio because their older members are more expensive now, and they have more older members than younger members, and their healthier members are no longer able to offset the more sicker members, which that is of seniors that live with many chronic diseases. Okay. And then I look at Clover Health that has industry-leading MCR. Okay, that is weird. Out of all the companies in the United States, all the companies, you're telling me this stupid penny stock, this stupid, I'm going to be like very vulgar now, the stupid trash of a disgusting penny stock, it has industry-leading MCR. What is this bug, this ant of a clover, this small little leaf, right, have on industry-leading MCR? It's almost comical. It is comical. It's like, wait, what? This thing has industry-leading MCR? Nah, that's some BS, right? And that's what a lot of people were saying. Like, for example, one of the CFO members of Blue Cross Blue Shield. Sorry, CMO, Chief Medical Officer, I believe. One of the Blue Cross Blue Shield was saying, you know what? We're going to talk, this thing is heavily scrutinized and talks about some legal attorney general's office and stuff like that. All this bullshit, right? And then he got trashed for it, and then he deleted his comment, and then we posted the comment. You can follow it on my past videos, and you can see it. I'm just telling you now, kind of what so now we know the incumbents are looking at Clover. They're like, wait a minute, this little piece of shit has a good MCR. That is some bullshit, right? that I don't believe it, right? But they do, and so now we peel off the healthcare onion, while other MCRs of incumbents are increasing, Clover's is decreasing, which is what Vivek was saying in the past. Interesting. Okay. And I want to hear more from Vivek. You know what I mean? I really want to hear more from him. So I haven't, I'm surprised why he hasn't said anything. But we'll see. So you peel off that onion. Now let's go deeper into Clover. Okay. Well, Clover cut off their non-insurance side. Okay. Now they're focused on they realize they're going to focus on profitable. They have someone on the inside now, which I have to check if he got voted in or not. My stock terminal members, help me out. Let me know if he got voted in or not. I think Fergie is responsible for this guy, for this objective. So yes, so okay, so now they're focused on their profitable side, and there's this little scent of SaaS. Okay, all right. So why am I saying this? What we've already talked about SaaS before, right? And interestingly, David Sachs, who's the king of SaaS, follows Clover. And he started following Clover when Chamath was talking about how he needs help with this companies that released SaaS and got SaaS-like business. So again, that's speculation. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I know that David Sachs follows Clover. Okay, he's the king of SaaS. Okay, let's assign a 1 out of 10 of impact. Not impactful, right? I don't care. Not impactful. And then, but then I go ahead and I look for a job posting, and then we all saw it. It's not like I'm making stuff up. It's not like I am hallucinating. We all saw that, Clover released a job position, and the job position was of, vice president of SaaS sales. SaaS sales. Okay. Vice president of SaaS sales. So obviously there's something. I mean, it's bullshit that we have to basically pick up the crumbs and act like a crazy cat lady from Homer Simpson and have a map of all these little pieces and all these things. That's very annoying. That's some bullshit, right? We have to do all this. But again, this is what it takes, right? To do this stupid due diligence, right? So then we have this position where they have this, and now the position is no longer on their website. It means that they filled it in. It means that they maybe they're interviewing the candidates. I don't know, right? But they found SaaS sales. Okay, they found potentially a suitor to lead their vice president of SaaS sales. Okay, well let's go into the onions of SaaS. Well, the onions of SaaS, let's peel those onions out. Well, we know those revenues are more desirable because the gross margins are higher, right? The reason why the gross margins are higher is because, let's say, for example, Walmart gross margins versus Amazon's gross margins. That's more of a that's stupid. I mean, it's a little better because Walmart's square footage per ratio is retail versus warehouses square footage per ratio is cheaper, which is what Jeff Bezos tried to describe in the 90s when idiots on past the NBC angers or people from the media didn't understand. But what I'm basically trying to tell you is people that own a software, they don't have a lot of overhead. They don't have, let me give you an example. A person who owns a steakhouse or a person that owns a data center that does chips and stuff that sells a software to make the chips function better. Okay, well, the people that own the software have higher gross margins. They don't have to buy the chips. They don't have to they don't have to buy the meat or the steak or the workers and the waitresses and the waiters and et cetera, et cetera. They don't have those fixed costs, right? They don't have to, have a freaking business where people walk into. It's an online business, right? They can just buy the software, deploy the software, and that's it. So what I'm trying to say is, if Clover becomes a SaaS-like business, holy shit, guys, because now the revenues are going to go directly into free cash flow and net income because the gross margins are a lot higher. Problem with SaaS businesses is these are lines of code, and these lines of code can be stolen, right? But the data here, the moat, is the patience and the information, the data's gold that Clover has that has been training their models. And if you haven't listened to the talk from UPenn, I think you should. I'm not going to play it on here because I've listened to it and it's long and I just don't have time to, you guys are going to have to do your own due diligence on that one. I think I've given enough to the community, right? But he says that, we know we only have 80,000 members, but we've been retraining our models back and forth on those 80,000 members. And if you keep retraining them, it's almost like you have millions of members. It's a computer science thing. It's a little trick when you have a small sample size, and you can have positive predictive value. And it's obviously working for Clover because look at the white papers that they were publishing. Likewise, ultimately look at the MCRs that they have, industry leading, guys, right? So industry leading to a point where incumbents are calling bullshit. And I myself, I honestly understand where the incumbents are coming from. It's like, what is this piece of shit company called Clover Health that has a better MCR than me? What the hell is what clown world are we living in, right? So I get it, right? It's hard to believe. It's like, what, this little shit, this little small thing. Again, I don't want to minimize your business, Mr. Andrew Toy. I'm saying it in a comical perspective, right? It's just, this is how people are looking at you, right? And I love how you keep your head down and you're about to shut them up, right? But a couple things need to happen for this. So now that we peeled the SaaS business and we understand the revenues from that are a lot better, and we're talking revenue multiples from 5 to 6, guys, up to 10. I mean, just look at the revenue multiples for Palantir, right? Even Palantir is a different story, but those revenues are highly desirable. Okay, so now we went ahead and peeled the SaaS-like structure of the business. Now let's go ahead and take a look at ultimately the vice president. They got the SaaS thing that's going. So now where do we go from here? Well, we have this thing called Quartet that they just recently announced. One of our members asked them, said, hey, are you willing to expand your usage of Clover Assistant to other members outside of Clover Health members? They said, yeah, we're thinking of expanding to all the United States using Clover Assistant. Guys, that's huge. They might be the first clients. Who knows? Because the reason why Quartet's using them is because of their 80,000 members. Well, if the Quartet starts to use Clover Assistant for other members outside of Clover Health insured members, that's huge. That's a SaaS-like business. Okay. So I am starting to see this ability to utilize Clover Assistant and integration. So now we are starting to see some noise, pardon me, on LinkedIn that talk about a lot of doctors are reaching out to me about Clover Assistant. Can I get your advice on people that are using it? So the word's coming out, and we're going to have to see, how, again, by the way, look at Palantir's revenue. It takes a long time to get SaaS money. SaaS money is sticky, but it is hard, right? So I anticipate the SaaS-like structure, if it does continue, it'll take a very long while to get that ball rolling. It's just, that's how it works. But so there's that. So now let's talk about revenue. Okay. So Clover needs to grow. They're a growth company. They're not a value company, right? So has Andrew Toy acknowledged this? Yeah, he has. He said it. He said that as our competitors retreat from growth, we will be doubling down. Okay, that's cool. Sounds pretty cocky. Okay, good. Okay, but when? When will that growth come back? I think that growth is going to come back maybe when there are 3 stars in 2025, I think. Just like previously how they were potentially 3 stars before and then got rewarded and then they finally got the 3.5 stars. Potentially, maybe that's when they'll activate the crazy growth. But that means they're going to be burning a lot of cash. So there's a big empty box for me in 2025. And I'm not the only one that has this empty box. Analysts are looking at this, and Andrew Toy has not acknowledged this. How is the business going to proceed in 2025 when you are in 3-star rating? This is a box that Andrew Toy needs to fix. He needs to show us, does he have a plan? I'm sure he does, but he needs to communicate the plan. This is the box that worries me. If there's a worry, it's 2025. Okay. Have they survived on 3 stars before? Absolutely. Okay. So it's not like a big worry. Now, Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Reverse stock split, right? Let's talk about the elephant. We've already talked about dilution. I do think they're going to have to do some dilution to fuel growth, but it's going to be when they're going to be growing at a higher revenue rate, and it's going to hopefully be profitable. What Andrew Toy was saying is he doesn't want to dilute shareholders, and he wants to basically use the profitability from these 80,000 members to offset the growth. I don't know, but I'm assuming the worst. There's going to have to be some future dilution, guys, right? But now let's talk about reverse stock split because retail investors hate this. Again, look at AMD, look at Citigroup. There's a lot of companies out there that have done that. But I do believe, and I'm honestly looking forward to this reverse stock split. I'm hoping it happens, right? I know you're going to look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you are crazy. What did you say? I mean, I'm sure there's people that are listening right now. They probably choked on the water that they were drinking. Like, what the hell did this guy say? Did he just say a reverse stock split is great? So we were talking about this yesterday on the main chat group. And the reason why I would like the reverse stock split to happen is then the stock price will be higher, right? And ultimately the margin will get activated because margin doesn't really get activated under $5. So lots of margin credit will be activated and individuals will be able to purchase on margin, right? So you're going to get that margin push and that debt to margin ratio. Because one of the things that we like to look at once we approach a top in a market cycle is we like to look at net margin debt peak. And when usually you have margin debt peak is when you have a peak in the market. And this is why we don't believe the market has peaked yet, because margin debt has not yet peaked from the previous peak, if that makes sense. Lots of peaks. Okay. So I think that, if Clover does an RS, you're going to get more institutional investors come in. You're going to go ahead and get margin debt activated, which again, I do not. If you read my book, I am heavily against margin. I don't like margin. But again, there are people out there that like it, and that's them. But ultimately, the option will be available for them. So I think they might reverse stock split. They've been able to escape it, but the whole delisting thing is all bullshit. I don't think they're going to delist because there's a reverse stock split availability. You have Mullen that hasn't sold anything, and they're still on the market, and you have a company that has over $1 billion in revenue. Okay, so anywho, the things that I'm looking at right now is, like I said, from the order from the beginning of the video is inflation dropping like a rock, interest rates falling, IWM small caps breaking out all-time to peaks and highs, Federal Reserve dropping interest rates, of course, Clover's reach within the government getting stronger, activating potentially SaaS, increasing Medicare Advantage revenue, and finding alternative sources of increase in revenue, finding a new CFO that has industry-leading knowledge and potentially it's a plus if they're part of the incumbents. And that's it. That's pretty much what I'm looking at, guys, right? This year is going to be just a SG&A year. We're going to have to look at their costs. The main thing out of everything, I want SG&A costs to go down, right? So that's going to be it right there. All right, guys. So that's all I have for you. Long video, 28 minutes, guys, right? But these are kind of my thoughts. I put them down here just to kind of put, because everyone asks me, Al, what you think of this, what you think of, these are my thoughts, right? All right. Hopefully this was helpful. I've been involved with Clov since 2021, dollar cost averaging. Yeah, exactly. Hold and forget about it. Exactly. The only reason why I make this video is because, man, holy crap. So many fried grasshoppers on StockTwits, Andrew Toy's LinkedIn posts getting slammed. Oh no, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, no. So I've been deleting a lot of the haters. If you like trash the company, that's fine. But if you go ahead and like say anything disrespectful or bullying, of course I'm going to block you, right? Just like how you have the freedom of speech to say anything you want, I have the freedom of speech to walk away, right? Listen to stay off my operating table podcast with Dr. How AI was transformed. Everything talks about sounds like they were talking about Clover. Hey man, I'll take a look at it. I put the message up here, so I'll be able to recapture it later. Here's a star rating for healthcare stocks, oral stocks. Oh no, yeah. So star ratings are for CMS, right? They're for healthcare stocks. So another thing I wanted to add, if they get to a pathway of 4 stars, holy shit. That's going to change the game. If they get 4 stars, then they can really double down on that PPO plan and they can just grow the crap out of their MA side, which is what they're thinking about, which is why they hired the guy from Humana who was like the head of growth, right? So there's a lot to look forward to. So in closing, I'm seeing a lot of these negative comments. I'm seeing retail investors just literally just go crazy right now. They are literally screaming, going crazy, crying. You know what they remind me of? Hold on. Let me give you. Hold on. Let me show you a video of what Clover Health, what Clover investors remind me of. Oh my god, this is terrible. Okay, hold on. Let me show you. Hold on. You guys are gonna love this. Oh my god, you guys are gonna love this. Okay, so let me show you here. Okay. All right, so this is what Clover Health investors. This is what they. This is what they remind me of right now. Right. This is Clover Health investors right now.
Let this go. Can I do that with freedom? All I care about is freedom. That's fine. I've been there before. I'm not scared. I've fucking been there before.
This is when Clover announces a reverse stock split. I've been there before. I'm not scared. And this is where the crazies come out for Clover. Here it is.
This nigga's hurting my elbow. He's hurting my wrist. You're hurting me, Sheriff. You're hurting me, Sheriff. Why are you choking? I can't breathe. Why are you touching my leg? Why are you touching my leg? I can't breathe. This is George.
Yeah, so this is Clover investors right here, right there, right? I know. Tell me about it, Brandon. That's pretty crazy. This is Clover investors now, and this is Andrew Toy's LinkedIn right now. Good guys. So calm down, guys. You know, this is we just had an insider purchase shares for her and her daughter, and then this is the reaction of Clover investors. Ah! All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you on the next one.